Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a map tier list of my favorite maps to play as a survivor. My favorite survivor maps. So this is fun to play for survivor. So first off, we need to add one more row, and let's make this row gray, and let's title it. Let's start off with, what is this? This is Asylum. I love the Asylum. Asylum is probably one of my favorite maps in the entire game. I think Asylum is literally so well designed because it's like, it's just the center building. It's just a circle. It's basically just a circle. I really like Asylum. However, I don't think it's like one of the most fun maps in the game. So I'm probably gonna put it in A tier. I think Asylum is a very solid map. It's pretty balanced, I feel like, on both sides. That middle loop with the windows is pretty freaking good for survivor. So that's really fun to loop. I also have a lot of really good memories just looping bad killers back in the day on this map, and it was awesome. It is a little big. Yeah. I don't like the areas that go back, you know, the two little pockets. I don't like that. I think that's one of the worst game design decisions, and that appears in a couple of maps too. If you have balanced landing, it's fun too. True. Balanced landing makes this map very fun. All right, next up is the chapel. The chapel is my favorite map, I think, or one of them. It's not my favorite, but it's S tier by far. Like, this map is just, it's so good. Like, it's legitimately just so good. Where's my cap I'm on? There you are. Anyway, Chapel is so good. Like, the main building is just one of the most fun loops in the game, in my opinion. This is from a survivor's perspective. This is playing the map as a survivor. I love the main building loop. When you get the loop at the stairs that go up and to the right, when you get that window, which I call the God window, and then you get the window once you land to the right, which always spawns with that window. It's so good. It's so fun. And there's just so many windows in that main building that there's a lot of like mind game abilities. And it also can connect to a lot of loops outside of it too. So it's just overall a great map for survivor. It's just really fun. It's a pretty good size too. It's like medium sized. I really like that size. I think it's pretty much the ideal survivor map, or one of the ideal survivor maps. It's just such a good map. If Dead Dog Saloon isn't at S tier, I will be very angry. Oh boy. Oh boy. We'll get there. All right. Next up is Mother's Dwelling. Ooh, I gotta put that in. I'm gonna put it in C tier. This map is decent. I actually enjoy a lot of the loops on this map for survivor. However, it's so big. It's actually so big. Like, it's just, it takes ages to even get to a gen. However, I do think that this map has some really fun loops. Like, the main building loop is very, very fun. There's the top story window. There's the top story secret vault spot. If you don't know about that, go watch my secret vault spots video on YouTube. Anyway, there's the Z-shaped window on the bottom in the little square room, and then there's the other window that can spawn like either near the staircase or near somewhere else. I love those windows. That main building loop is the only reason it's at C tier. Like, if you ignore the main building loop, then it's probably D or F tier because it's so big and it's horrible. So it's just average. There's like pros and cons. I don't know. Okay, next up we have Temple of Purgation. Temple of Purgation. Ooh, I don't know. Honestly, I'm gonna put Temple in D tier. I think I like playing Mother's Dwelling better than Temple. Ooh, I don't know. No, I'm gonna put it in C tier. I'm gonna put it in C tier. It's a good size. It's a little big. You guys are saying B? Really? I'm not a huge fan of this map. I don't think the loops are very fun at all. Like, a lot of the loops are just safe pallets, and then there's like a couple TLs sometimes. Like, overall, the main building loops are terrible. There's Shack, of course, and then there's like all those weird pallet loops around like the stone pillars and stuff, which is those are kind of trash. Those are kind of filler. I don't know. I just feel like there's so much filler in this map, you know? I'm not sure. You guys are saying B? Really? Fun for range killers. True. But this is fun for survivors. Like, this is what this tier list is. This is what maps are fun for survivors, in my opinion. Maybe I see the maps more fun than what they are because I use balanced landing. True. I do not use balanced landing, but this map, I could see why balanced landing would be fun on it. Okay, the game. I'm going to put the game in, I'm going to put it in D tier. It's a good map for survivor, but it's not a fun maps for survivor. Reason being is because every single pallet on the game is either a god pallet or a safe pallet. So the gameplay on this map is just so boring because you literally just go from one pallet to the next pallet. There's no like counterplay. You just loop and loop and loop that pallet until the killer catches up to you. Then you throw it. Then the killer breaks it. You run to the next pallet. Then you loop that pallet until the killer catches up to you. Then you throw it. Then you go to the next pallet. So it's just so like boring. Like, it's boring for the killer. It's boring for the survivor. You know, the only only redeeming quality is that this map is very beautiful and it has a lot of like mini Easter eggs within it, which is kind of cool. But the fact that there's breakable doors that cause dead ends, there's the doors that can only be opened by generators. Like it's such a boring map for both sides. It's just horrible. Hi YouTube, you're looking cute today. This will be going on YouTube. Let me continue with my tier list. We have, what is this? Is that Fractured Cowshed? I honestly don't know the names of all the cold winds, but this is the one with the barn. This is, or no, this is Abattoir. Isn't this Abattoir? I think this is Rotten Fields. This is Thompson House. This is, why am I blanking? Wait, what? Why am I blanking on this one? Torment Creek. That's Torment Creek. Okay, the one with the blimp, the like broken blimp, or I guess it's a silo, but I like to call it the blimp. That's Torment Creek. So this is Rancid Abattoir. This is Rotten Fields, Thompson House, Torment Creek. Let's start with Rancid Abattoir. This is the one with the barn. This one, I'm gonna put in B tier. This one's okay. I don't really like the middle section with like it has the harvester and then it's like just an entire field of corn. That's kind of bad, but it is one of the default OG maps. It has the default regular loops, and I personally really like it. The barn is Cowshed. Oh, this is Cowshed. Oh, Abattoir's okay. Gotcha. I don't know. I don't like, it's just a regular map. I don't know. There's not really any redeeming qualities. I think back in the day, before the graphical update to this map, it probably would have been A tier. However, now like the main building loop has breakable walls, so that mitigates it completely, which kind of sucks. I honestly really hate the new graphical updates for Cold Wind. I don't like it. It's way too bright. It doesn't fit the vibe of the game. It's so hard to see auras. It's just terrible. I don't like it. I also think the corn is very ugly now. I don't know why. So Cowshed, not really my thing. The good thing though is that it has all of the default loops. So TLs, it has long wall jungle gyms, it has L wall jungle gyms, stuff like that. So personally, I really like those jungle gyms just because that's like the most common one. So you're used to those. I loved this map before the graphical update. Like it was just so good, but now it's just kind of meh. Next up, we have Rotten Fields. I'm gonna go with D tier for Rotten Fields. I do not like Rotten Fields at all. Like, it's okay. The barn is fair, I would say. There are fair loops and so many opportunities for killer. Yeah, it's a fair map. It's definitely a fair map. It used to be way survivor-sided, but now it's pretty fair. I don't really like Rotten Fields. It's just way too open for survivor. Like, it's just, I don't know. I mean, again, I like the loops. I like the layout, how Shack is in the middle. That's kind of fun. However, it's just like having so many dead zones. Literally so many dead zones on this map. It's not even funny. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Because then you're only safe when you're on like each of the four corners or four sides of the square. Okay, Thompson House. Before the graphical update, Thompson House for me would probably either be S tier or A tier. I loved this map before the graphical update. Now it's probably B tier. I hate the new Thompson House. The new Thompson House sucks. The old Thompson House was awesome. Like the old graphics, yeah, exactly. The old graphics were so good. This map was incredible, but now it's just, I don't know, it's so bright. There's like so many dead zones now. It's just really weird. I don't know. All of the Cold Wind maps have just gotten way lower on the list now. What's the main building in Rotten Fields? There is none. It's literally just Shack in the middle. It's the one with Shack in the middle, and then it's just a square, and it's just a bunch of cornfields. It's very bland. You're the first one to hear complaining about those reworks? Really? I liked them at first, but now the updated versions are just so bad. Also, another thing with Cold Wind that sucks is that they removed locker saves on the loops. Like, they're literally removing skillful gameplay. Like, what is that? It's so weird. It's so weird. The new graphics look great, but it's just not scary in this game. It's supposed to be a horror game. It's honestly, I don't like the new graphics just by the way they look. Like, they just, to me, I don't know if it's nostalgia or what. I hate Cold Wind maps now because of the updated versions. Exactly. Rotten Fields, yeah, Rotten Fields is not good. All right, Torment Creek. This is the one with the fallen over silo. Again, it's pretty much the same thing. This map probably for me would have been A or S tier back when it wasn't graphically updated. Now it's B tier, I think. Like, it's fine, but like, it's just, it used to be so good. It has the main building loop, which was really, really fun when it didn't have the breakable wall. And then it had a lot of loops that connected to each other, and it had the shack. It was like a perfect, like, rectangular formation of a map, which I love. I really like rectangular maps personally, but then it just got way worse with the graphical update. So now it's just kind of meh. Nostalgia always plays a part. That is true. This is better than other Cold Winds. Yeah, I think this would be one of my favorite Cold Wind maps. This isn't in order. I'll do the order from left to right after when we're done. I hope a mosquito bites your ankle. Thank you. I appreciate it. Graphical update RPD. RPD is such a beautiful map. It has RPD too. It does not have Eyrie of Crows or however you pronounce that. Eyrie? I don't know. I don't friggin' know, man. I don't know. Alrighty, we have, this is Rancid Abattoir. See, it's literally the same thing. I'm gonna put this one in C tier. I actually like this one. This is probably one of my least favorite Coldwind maps behind Rotten Fields, just because the main building, like for one, if you're working on the gen in the main building, you can get hit over those fences. So like literally, like you're unsafe no matter what there. That loop was really good before the graphical update again, but now with the breakable walls, it's pretty bad. It becomes completely useless. This map, yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of it. I don't like the layout of it. The shack, like compared to the main building, is just, I don't know, it's just a weird location. Old one, again, definitely A tier, but now it's just kind of bad. I don't know. That wasn't directed towards you. Oh, my bad. You're right. At least RPD looks good. That is true. Okay, Larry's Memorial Institute. This is a hard one. I'm gonna put this one in B tier. I actually think this one's very fun because the randomness of getting the windows, like there's so much RNG that goes into this map for Survivor. It's very fun just in the fact that you can connect so many loops, like literally so many loops because of windows. I think windows are much like this is basically the Gideon meat plant of windows. Like honestly, I'm probably gonna put this in A tier. I think this is a very, very fun map for Survivor. Like it's horrible for Killer, but for Survivor, it's just so fun. And it's pretty easy to track gens just because of the blinking lights. So that's not really too big of an issue, but it's just the only thing that takes away from it is the fact that it is an indoor map, and indoor maps generally are worse. However, this map is just like being able to get good window spawns. Once you get like, there's a certain point in your skill level where you realize that you can connect loops and you like start to kind of graph it in your head where you're able to connect loops. Once you reach that point, I remember specifically reaching that point. Once you reach that point, it makes this map 10 times better. Literally 10 times better. Like Larry's just gets way better once you figure out how to loop those. But other than that, like if you're not looping them, I don't think it's a very good map. Okay, next up we have Yamoka Estate. This map, I'm gonna go with B. It's an average map. It's an average map. Like it's good, but it's not very fun. Like it is big. Yes, that's one thing I don't like about it is it's very, very, very big. I'm not a huge fan of that. You can 3-gen really, really easily if the killer's paying attention. It's also really dark. So if you are playing, actually, well, this is a Survivor tier list, but if you are playing Killer, you're never, ever going to be able to find a Survivor if they're playing Immersed. So like this map, it's good. It has the basic loops. It has the main building loops, which are pretty fun, but now they're ruined by breakable doors once again. It has the broken wall loop, which is a very 50-50 loop, which is, you know, it's decent. Other than that, it's just very average. Like it's just kind of boring. I don't know. What is in the S tier? This is Chapel. Father Campbell's Chapel. The one with the three-eyed horse. Love that map. So good. So good. Which of the 3 OG realms do you like the most? Coldwind, Macmillan, or Honor Haven? We will get there. I promise you. It fits the vibe of DVD. That is true. That is the one really good thing. The aesthetic really, really fits. That is the one good thing. All right. Then we have the Shrine of Sanctum. The Shrine of Sanctum? Is that what it's called? The Shrine. I gotta give this loop. Honestly, I really like this map. I'm gonna put it in A. This map, Yamoka should be C. Really? I really like this map for the fact that the main building loop is really unique. Like it's super, super unique and really interactive. And it's also just fun because it's really satisfying to get the fast vaults on those windows because it actually takes like a little bit of skill to get the fast vault on those windows. I'm not a huge fan of the layout. The kind of like eye shape is kind of not, I don't really like the eye shape layout. However, it is pretty easy to get back and forth because there's the middle. You can go through the middle, like the main building, or you can go around it on either side, which is kind of great. However, it is really easy to get 3-gen on this map. So you have to be really, really careful about that. But I think it's overall a pretty good map. It has the shack loop, right? The tiles on this map are absolutely crazy. I just mixed insane and crazy. What is going on? The shack loops on this map connect to other tiles. So you can have a long wall jungle gym connected to the shack window, and it's so overpowered. Like it's actually insane. I don't know why they haven't fixed this, or maybe they have, and I just don't know because I have 2.8 hours on DVD in the last 2 weeks. But the shack loop connecting to the other loop next to it is so good. Shack is really pretty. That is true. All right, next up, what is this? Coal Tower? Like literally S tier. Like literally no one, not a single person can tell me otherwise. Not a single person. Like you just can't. You can't tell me otherwise. It's just not happening. Coal Tower is objectively the best map in the entire game for both Survivor and Killer. It's so balanced. It's the perfect size. It's the perfect layout. It's literally a rectangle with the main building on the top, the shack on the bottom, and then 2 to 3 loops on either side. It's so good. It's so good. Coal Tower, beautiful, beautiful map. It's good with literally every killer except maybe stealth killers. Stealth killers are going to have a little bit of a rough time, but it's just so balanced. Like, it's just so balanced. And then the main building loop is good. It was better before the graphical update. Again, Coal Tower is not that good. Really? This map is phenomenal. It's always the map that they do for tournaments from what I can tell because it's just so balanced. But yeah, what is this? This is Shelter Woods. This map is god awful. Shelter Woods is such a horrible map. It has 3 pallets and 1 window. It's so bad. It's so bad. Shelter Woods is just so bad. Like, it's literally so bad. This, like, Shelter Woods is one of the most killer-sided maps in the entire game. Coal Tower is a way of showing how balance fell off over the year. Exactly. Okay, so the problem with Shelter Woods, right, is that if you're not in a 4-man with competent players, you're gonna lose. Reason being is well, for one, if you get a anti-loop killer, which there's like 10 of those now, it's gonna be hard because you're gonna have to pre-drop pallets. For example, if you get a clown on this map, you're gonna have to pre-drop pallets. But there's only like 7 pallets on this map, so you're gonna run out of pallets in like the first gen pop, which sucks. It's horrible. It's horrible. The loops are fine. Like, they're the regular basic loops. There's no main building. I think if they added like a treehouse loop on the big tree, if they added a main building and it's like a treehouse, this map would be way better, like significantly better. Even if it was like the mother's dwelling small shack loop, you know, the double story one, even if they put that and literally copy pasted that into the tree, that would make this so much better, like so much better. I don't know. Whenever I run Balanced Landing, I always get this map. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. This map is really the worst. Yeah, no, Shelter Woods, horrible map. All right, Ironworks of Misery. I'm gonna give this one A tier. I love Ironworks of Misery. This is the one with the really tall second story. The main building loop got significantly worse over the years. It used to be an infinite, and then it got nerfed and became kind of good, and now it's like kind of meh. I really like this map. I think it's a good size. Really? You think it's big? I think it's just barely, like, I think it's probably the biggest I would go. Like, the biggest I would enjoy, right? I think the main building loop is kind of trash, except for the upper story window when the breakable wall is not there. Like, that's a free escape. Like, that's free distance once you go up there. However, the bottom story loop with like the broken window is so bad now. Like, it's just so bad. But it does connect to some other loops, which is nice. There are a couple of dead zones, which I'm not a huge fan of. So actually, I'm gonna put this in B tier. I think all the dead zones make this map kind of bad. Like, it's good. It's a good map. However, the dead zones are really, really rough on this map. Thoughts on Altruistic Bill? Bill is just OP. Like, he's just out of this world. I'm just saying. Which map are we talking about? We are talking about Ironworks of Misery. Shack can be insane to loop at. True. Yeah, if you get a long wall jungle gym connected to the shack window, that is absolutely crazy. Crazy. Wrong map? What? Oh, kind of big? Oh, yeah. No. I think you're talking about this one, which is the, whatever the frick this is called. Why am I blanking? It's the department store. What is the department store? Hold on. Macmillan Maps. Why am I blanking? Groaning Storehouse. That's what it's called. Groaning Storehouse. Actually, we have to do Suffocation Pit first. Okay. Suffocation Pit. Jesus. Is interesting. The middle is literally S tier. Like, the middle is so fun for Survivor. Simply because there's like always 4 TLs together and you can just link loops so well. Literally so well. This map is fantastic for that. But I'm gonna drop it a couple points. I'm gonna drop it probably to... I'm gonna drop it to A tier. The reason why I'm dropping it to A tier is because 3-genning is literally so easy on this map. Like, because this map is basically I-shaped, like capital I-shaped, you can get 3-gens so easily. Like, if the killer just protects 3-gens from the beginning of the game, you're gonna get 3-gen practically no matter what, which is really annoying. However, if you're looping in the middle, it is so fun because getting multiple TLs together, like chained together, is one of the most fun things ever. Like, it's literally so fun, but it's still fine because you have main building and shack, which are both insane. Yeah, the main building is very, very strong on this map, even with the breakable doors down, because, for example, the one straight wall with the window in it, that has a unsafe pallet loop right next to it. So you can loop around the unsafe pallet and then take the window if you have room, and then loop all the way back around to that pallet. And then that's like a loop in itself. And then this loop right here that you can see with the window that can spawn there, that's also just extremely strong. I don't know if they have that anymore. Oh yeah, they do, because they have the breakable door right next to it. This window used to be so good, like literally so good. I'm pretty sure this was an infinite. But yeah, this map, in my opinion, is just a very, very solid map, except for the fact that you can get 3-gen so easily. It's better than the one Auto Haven map. The Auto Havens are next. All right, Groaning Storehouse. I'm gonna put Groaning Storehouse on... I'm gonna put it like low B. I think that's probably a good fit for it. Groaning Storehouse is, in my opinion, the worst besides Shelter Woods. I just hate the layout of the map. Like, the layout is literally, it's like a square, but then it has 2 little weird legs sticking out. And the 2 legs cause it to, like, it literally literally makes the killer have a free face camping section of the map. There's a hook back there in each of the legs, right? Each of the little arms that are sticking out. If you hook a survivor on there as killer, you can patrol the entrance to those legs and never let anyone get over there. Like it's really, really bad. Other than that, it's a pretty fun map, which is why it's going in the B tier for me. Other than that, it's a pretty solid map. It's just not like that layout is just unbearable sometimes. Like it's just absolutely unbearable. The main building used to be fun, but since the breakable doors, it's no longer fun as per literally every other map in this game. So, and then it has, you know, the basic loops. It has a couple filler palettes, and then it has Shack, which is always great. All right, now we have the Auto Haven maps. Let me just look all of them up to make sure I'm naming them correctly. Let me do that really quick. All Auto Haven maps. All righty. Yo, Neo, thank you for the Prime sub, my dude. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, so the first one is Wretched Shop. Wretched Shop is... I'm gonna put this one in C tier. I don't like Wretched Shop, personally. It's one of my least favorite Auto Haven maps. Before the graphical update, again, it was amazing. It was great. After the graphical update, it just got kind of bad. It's just very mediocre. There's the normal loops, which is fine. Dead zones. Yeah, exactly. That's my biggest issue is the amount of dead zones in this map and literally how many like filler pallets there are like in the middle. It's all filler pallets in the middle. Like it's just horrible. The main building is really, really good if the killer doesn't break the breakable wall, but once they break the breakable wall, you literally can't loop the main building. Like it's pretty rough. Shack can kind of connect to some loops. They're a little far, but they can kind of, which is why this is a little bit higher. F tier? I wouldn't go that bad. I think it has some redeeming qualities. Like just the fact that the loops are normal, like they're the default loops, makes this a much better map. All right, this is Gas Heaven. Gas Heaven is... Oh, this is a tough one. I'm gonna put this in C tier too. Like Gas Heaven was really, really good, but now it's just so bad. These graphical updates are ruining all the good maps. It's so annoying. Like it's so annoying. Gas Heaven is a good map except for the long car walls, literally the long car walls. And then the main building is just completely ruined now by like, okay, the garage has 2 breakable doors in it now. 2. Actually, just that, you know what? I'm putting it in D tier now just because of that. That garage was it had so much character because there was only one way in, one way out. Like there were so many things. Trappers could trap that. Killers could, you know, lock you in. Stuff like that. It was just, it had so much character. It was so risky to do that gen. But now it's like, I don't know. It's just, it just lost all of its good aspects, you know? I'm trying to think of RPD with the old graphics. That would be really cool. That would be really cool. It's really fun for me. The main build after doing the gen is fun. True, it is. The main building is probably the redeeming factor if you get the good windows. If you get the window that's next to the door entering the garage, that is a very, very good window. But if you get the other windows, they're pretty trash, I must say. I don't think that saying it in all caps will make a difference. Kaido is having fun doing this tier list and he's gonna finish it. Yes, sir. All right, Blood Lodge. Ooh, honestly, I'm gonna say Blood Lodge is, I'm gonna say A tier. I really like Blood Lodge now. Like even with the graphical update, I really like Blood Lodge. The new Blood Lodge, I mean, it's worse. It's a little worse than the old one. I really, really like the main building loop personally. Okay, except for the middle. The middle sucks. I hate the middle. It's just all filler pallets and dead zones. However, the outer edges, it's basically like a bigger version of Coal Tower. It has the main building with some decent windows. It has Shack at the other end, and then it has a bunch of loops on the side. So to me, it's essentially just a bigger version of Coal Tower, which is why it's not an S tier, but it's an A tier instead. But the middle brings it down a lot. Like the middle is such a dead zone. It's just, I hate the middle. If you get like a Huntress or a Deathslinger, there's little to no counterplay for most of it. Okay, we got, what is this? Is that Azerov's resting place? Yes, it is. Okay, this map is freaking annoying. I hate this map as Survivor. This is probably, I'm gonna put D tier for this one. Azerov's resting place is, it's good. Again, it's good in the middle, but it's so easy to get 3-gen. It's basically Suffocation Pit, but worse. Like it's literally just Suffocation Pit, but worse because the middle's not as strong as the middle and Suffo Pit. And then each end, like the main building is trash. Like it's absolutely trash. Once they break the breakable door, it's so bad. Actually, that's not necessarily true, but I miss the main building on the old one, you know? Do you remember that one? Like the main building on the old one had so many windows. It was so funny. It was actually so funny. But other than that, like the loops are too spread out in my opinion. The middle is good. I like the middle. That's the redeeming quality of this map. Shack is always good. It doesn't connect to any loops except for maybe a pallet loop, like a filler pallet. But other than that, it's just, I don't know. It's just so easy to get 3-gen. If a killer has a survivor on a hook on one of the ends, you're never going to save them. Like if it's a Bubba or something, it's going to be so difficult to save them. The doors can spawn on complete opposite sides and make escaping very difficult at the end. No ed is a pain on this map. Like there's just so many bad bad things with this map. All right, last but not least, Wrecker's Yard. Honestly, Wrecker's Yard, I'm gonna put A tier for Wrecker's Yard. It's basically just Rotten Fields, but significantly better. Like, it's the same layout. It's like a square with shack in the middle, but it actually has loops around it. So it's just Rotten Field with extra loops. I really like the layout. I think it's very simple, which is really nice. Shack can connect into some really good loops. You can get a ton of distance on this map to you know, connect different loops. Other than that, like, there's not, it's a pretty basic map. So I feel like it's good for all skill levels, right? Because there's like a lot of filler palettes, which is good for anybody. And then there's a lot of loops that can connect to each other if you have the skill to do so, which is also really nice. All right, next up we got Ormond. Oh, Ormond. Okay, I'm gonna put Ormond in C tier. I think Ormond used to be so fun. The main building used to be so good, but now Ormond is just not. It just lost everything. It lost everything. Like, in the graphical update, it lost everything. In Ormond, there used to be that one loop. There was that one single loop in main building that was, the front desk kind of loop. It was so awesome. That loop, if you got the right spawn, there was like a window connected to the desk loop, and it was amazing. It was amazing. It was actually amazing. But now the loops in the main building are kind of trash, and everything, it's just such a big map that it takes ages to get to anywhere, which kind of sucks. I hate the giant rock, like the giant long rock, you know what I'm talking about? Outside of the main building near the sign. I hate that. It's so dumb. Totems are a pain to find on this map. Pallets are either extremely safe god pallets or extremely bad, where the killer can quite literally swing from one side of the pallet to the other side of the pallet, which is awful for Survivor. But the reason it's in C tier and not Dear F is because the loops, there are some good loops, like some of the regular loops. It has some of the weird, unique ones, which is kind of strange, and I'm still not used to those. But you can get away with some good chases on here for sure. Ormond as Survivor is fun at times, but the loops are awful. Yeah, that sums it up pretty well. Hawkins. Ooh, I gotta put Hawkins in. I'm gonna put Hawkins in the F tier. Hawkins is not well designed for a Survivor map. Like, it's fun, right? It's a fun map because it has so much character, but it's just not, like, it's just, a lot of it is the palette thing again. Yo, Lila, thank you for the sub. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Okay, you know what? Now that I think about it, the long rooms, I'm gonna put it up to D just purely for the fact that they have the long rooms, because the long rooms are actually very unique. Very, very unique. The long room with the stairs going up on both sides, people call it the Z room, I think. I love that room. That room's awesome. Other than that, like, I don't know, the loops are just, there's no loops. Like, it's just pallets. And I don't like pallets. I like windows, you know? Like, windows just make or break a map to me. If it has more windows, the better. Usually. That room used to be OP. That is true. You mean like when you could go over the stairs? That was awesome. That was great. Now that they patched that, it got kind of worse. This map is extremely fun with stealth killers because it's very scary. This map sucks against Hag. Hag is very good on this map. And this map doesn't exist anymore, so we don't even need to worry about it at all, which is kind of nice. Haddonfield, you know, honestly, most people would say Haddonfield is S tier, but fun-wise, I think Haddonfield's like maybe B tier. I honestly don't enjoy Haddonfield that much. Like, it's fun to do like the House of Pain loops. Fun with balance landing only, that is true. If you don't have balance landing, it's way worse. But there's just a lot, I don't know, like the entire middle is a dead zone. The entire middle, practically. A lot of behind the houses is a dead zone. You have the giant white picket fences and bushes, like the hedges, that takes years to get around sometimes. Sometimes the spawns are absolutely atrocious, and that can stop you from unhooking a survivor. That can stop you from getting to a gen you want to get to. Like, it just wastes so much time for no reason, and it just, I don't know. I don't enjoy playing on this map that much as Survivor, but looping the House of Pain is fun. Honestly, looping the filler pallets on this map, I feel like is kind of fun too. I don't know why on this map. Probably because you can connect them to some other things, like, for example, or like just getting distance. So like the garage loops with the truck, and then the little pallet at the truck, those are very fun because you can loop that, and then you can make some mind games with it, surprisingly, for a filler pallet. It's like kind of funny. Every house has at least one infinite. That is true. They did, okay, this map would have been way more fun. Like, it would have been an A tier if they didn't remove the God window in the main building, but they did remove the God window in the main building, so now that makes it just significantly worse. The God window in the main building was so awesome. Like, it was just so good. It was so good. I'm confused how y'all remember maps by names. I have to look at the map. Well, hopefully these pictures help a little bit. I can zoom in a bit. Does that help? Does that help more? That should help a little bit more. All right, next up we have Grim Pantry. Ooh, see, this is a hard one. I'm gonna put this one in the new Grim Pantry. I'm gonna put in C tier, probably. It's too big, first of all. It's way too big. I think that's the main reason it's so bad. However, the loops on this map are so fun. I love the loops on this map. There is the main building, which is insane. Incredible. Incredible. I love the main building loop. It has that window at the top story, which is absolutely absolutely phenomenal. And then it also has decent loops at the bottom, depending on how you loop it. Most baby survivors, like most newer survivors, less inexperienced survivors, hate the swamp maps. But as you get better, they actually start to get way better because you learn how to use the loops properly. However, the size of this map still makes it a little bad. Another reason why I'm putting it at C tier is because the totems on this map are atrocious. We're on Grim Pantry right here. The totems on this map are absolutely atrocious. And with the quadruple slowdown meta that we're in, with Ruin, Undying, and Pop, and all that, like Ruin Undying on this map is so bad. Like it's so awful. You're gonna have Ruin up pretty much the entire game. And also the hatch spawns are horrible on this map. So, I mean, hatch isn't as big of a deal anymore now that it only opens when there's one person left, but you're never gonna find the hatch. Like literally never. It can spawn. This is the only map in the game where it can spawn on the complete edges of the map. Like only outside map where it can spawn literally like right next to the edge wall. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. But other than that, like there's the two pantry loops are great. I think the docks are really fun depending on which loop you get. The docks are really fun. Shack is great as per usual. The double story loop is really fun too if you get the window at the top of the stairs. Other than that, like the entire middle is practically a dead zone, which is kind of annoying. So, all right, next up we have the boat map. The boat map I'm gonna put in B tier as well. I think B tier is probably a good fit for this one. The big boat is extremely good for Survivor. The big boat has a lot of very good loops. It has two very strong loops at the top of the boat, and it has like two god pallets, one at the top, one at the bottom, which is awesome. And it also has, I mean, the entire middle is a dead zone because it's a swamp, obviously, which kind of sucks. Oasis is kind of annoying. What do you mean Oasis? What is Oasis? What is Oasis? I don't know what that is. You hate the boat as a survivor? Really? See, I really like the big boat and the small boat. The small boat has the little vault on the back of it, which is also very fun, and it has a lot of mind games. That loop is really fun. The big loop is really fun. The small boat can also connect into Shack, which can also connect into the filler pallet outside of the rock near Shack that's always there, which can also connect to the docks. And the docks, again, just like the last map, can give you a very, very strong loop, which is the double jungle gym loop. The double jungle gym loop, which is, it has the L wall jungle gym and it's the two windows, the L wall jungle gym window and the long wall jungle gym window. However, they're shorter, but it's still extremely good. Still extremely good. But other than that, again, it has the same problems as the Grim Pantry, where the totem spawns, oops, I hit my mic, sorry about that. The totem spawns are absolutely horrible. They're horrendous. And not the shack, the hatch spawns are absolutely horrendous as well, which is why it's going in the B tier. Other than that, the loops are phenomenal, so I really like this map a lot. Okay, Dead Dog Saloon. This is a hard one. I don't know. I'm gonna put C tier. Yeah, I'm gonna put C tier. So this map is one of the most killer-sided maps in the entire game, but it's actually like legitimately kind of fun in my opinion. The main building loops are amazing. I love the main building loops, but the fact that most killers can completely prevent these loops now makes it like way worse in my opinion. The main building is the only good part about it. Like Shack is even worse on this map. Like Shack is literally worse on this map because there's a breakable door. This is the map that also introduced breakable doors, so that's minus points for that. But I think the only good thing is the main building. Like the upper story vault is really good if you know how to get a fast vault on it. And then the window at the bottom to the right of the door, like right here, that is a very, very strong window as well. But other than that, it's like there's the double story gen over here, which is basically you're guaranteed to get hit there unless the killer totally messes up. All the loops can basically be mitigated by the killers if you break the breakable doors. The loops are very strong with the breakable doors. I mean, they're actually just normal loops, but then the breakable doors makes it worse. And then balanced landing on this map would make it, like if you're using balanced landing, this would probably be an S tier map, honestly. But without balanced landing, I think it's probably a good fit in the C tier. Gotta go buy food now before it closes. See ya later. Just hate because of its name. It's rude. Show your inner twins, main. No. Okay, all of the preschools. I'm gonna put the preschools. Honestly, let's see. We have the preschools. We have the main building loop. We have the white picket fence loop. We have all the car loops. We have the ambulance loop. We have Shack. We have the double story loops. Honestly, I really like this map. Like this Batum, I'm gonna put in A tier. I'm just gonna put one, but all of the Batum preschool maps are gonna go in A tier because they're pretty much the same thing, just rotated. I really like this map personally for Survivor. I find it to be a more fun version of Haddonfield. I think it's a little large. I think the size is probably the most detrimental part of it, but I think like even with the graphical updates, I think it still fits the DBD vibe. I still think the house loops are still good, even with the breakable pallets or the breakable doors. Shack, always, always good. I think the buildings are just fun. Like this is it's just the Haddonfield buildings, but better. Like it's just put in a better design map. Why are you guys talking about the twins? Balanced landing makes every map with main building in the middle more fun. That is true. That is true. Balanced landing on this map Actually, yeah, balanced landing changes maps completely. Like it completely changes the fun aspect of these maps. Okay, Midwich. I'm gonna say D tier. I don't think it's quite F tier. However, it is so boring for Survivor. Like Midwich is literally the epitome of the hold W meta. If you get hit and you're on one of the hallways, you just continue holding W. Like you literally just continue holding W. It's so annoying. And if the killer is chasing you, you just keep running around that hallway. Like literally keep running around it. The loops are all either god pallets or unsafe pallets, which is really frustrating. So that's, again, just like getting meat plant. It's just very bad. It's just very boring. You just go to the next pallet, go to the next pallet. The windows on this map are pretty fun. There's the 2 god windows, and then there is the window at like the reception desk thing. I love that window. That's amazing. D tier without balance landing, A tier with balance landing. I can stand by that. Balance landing would be very good on this map because it's, you know, double story. But it's just the whole W thing is so boring. For Midwich, this is for Midwich. The whole W thing is just so boring, so I have to put it in the D tier. All right, we got 2 more maps. RPD. Anyway, do I have to explain myself? Like, do I actually have to explain myself? Okay, the reason why RPD is so bad, apparently this is a survivor-sided map, but RPD literally checks off every single one of the bad map boxes. Let me list them out for you. For 1, it's huge. It's 3 stories. It's massive. 2, it suffers the Haddonfield effect, where you know where your objective is, but you can't get to it in time because of the either really long walls or because you have to go to a staircase before going up the stairs. 3, this map is like, it has a ton of long hallways, so there's a lot of like no counterplay for certain killers. For example, Deathslinger or Trickster or Hillbilly or Blight. There's a lot of no counterplay areas. This map, yeah, no, this map is objectively the best looking map in the game, in my opinion. So I guess that's not objectively. Subjectively, the best looking map in the game, but the gameplay, it's just not designed for DBD. Like every single pallet, just like the game, just like Midwich, they're either unsafe or they're safe or they're god pallets. The more pallets there are, the more boring the map is because the gameplay is just the same every single time. The windows are decent. There's the window, there's like the yellow tarp window to the right of the main entrance hall, going down the stairs into Leon's room. There are a couple of decent windows near like in like glass, like broken walls or broken glass, like in the interview room, or not the interview room, the interrogation room. But other than that, like it's so bad. Like it's just such a bad map. It's not even the fact that you have to, like, if you don't know the map, I get why it's even worse. But like I played RPD2, Resident Evil 2, so I know the map. Like, I mean, after playing this map a lot too, just on DBD and playing RPD, or Jesus, playing Resident Evil 2, I know the map. Like, I know it very well, but that's not the problem with it. It doesn't matter like that people get lost. That's not why this map is bad. I mean, that doesn't help for like people who are kind of newer, but it's so poorly designed for DBD. You can ask anybody with more than 600 hours on this map. Most people, 90% of the people, if they're like decent at the game, will say that this is a bad map. RIT. And last but not least, we have the new map, Eyrie of Crows? I don't know. The new desert map for the artist. I would put that, I'm gonna treat that like bad in preschool 5. I'm gonna say that would go, okay, I haven't played it much because it came out while skill-based matchmaking is a thing, which is basically when I quit DBD. So I don't know. From what I'm gathering, I'm gonna say C tier for the Eyrie of Crows map, the new, whatever, however you pronounce it. This is Survivor POV. It's too big. Like, it's just significantly way too difficult, too massive. Like, it's just so big. The main building is kind of cool, but the windows are kind of boring. It has the regular loops, which I really like. It's very gorgeous. It's very, very gorgeous. I think the fog is a little much, but the look of it is just really, really pretty, in my opinion. But other than that, it's kind of, like, it's just kind of boring. Like, it's just so big that there's so many dead zones, and it kind of looks like the graveyard area. It kind of looks like they just copy pasted assets. It feels like it just feels like a very lazy map, you know? It's just like a massive coal tower, like massive, absolutely massive. So I'm not a huge fan of this map, which is why it's going in the C tier. However, I'm going to move this out because I don't want people to be confused, but the new map would go in the C tier. Okay. The new map would go in the C tier. How long do you spend editing a vid? It takes me around 13 to 20 hours, depending on the video. Main building has 2 god pallets on the second floor. See, god pallet, I don't think god pallets are fun. Like, I don't think they're fun. If there's like 1 or 2, I guess it's fine. But if there's there's more than 2, it starts to get like really redundant, you know? I'm just sad there's no window in the top of the tree that could lead outside of it. Yeah, that'd be sick. Back in your day, what was your favorite map? Back in my day. Back in like OG DBD, I mean, Cold Tower is still amazing. Honestly, Chapel. I would still say Chapel is probably my favorite. Alrighty, well, that's gonna wrap it up for this tier list. We have, I'm gonna zoom out a bit so that you can see it better. I think this is a decent spot. So this is for fun for Survivor. Yeah, well, that's our tier list for fun. Say hi to YouTube because this is gonna be a YouTube video. If you guys do agree or disagree for those YouTube guys, let me know down in the comments. Let me know because I know we all have drastically different opinions, and it also totally depends on how many hours you have on this game. Because if you have, for example, 500 hours or less, you're gonna think some maps are way worse or way better than people who have like a lot of experience, stuff like that. Let me know what your opinions are, and I'll see you in the next video.